Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to Nisa Helpline Facebook live streaming. And as you know, we have been doing a wonderful thing by introducing, Ramadan series with Nisa Helpline. I just wanted to say that I hope everyone's Ramadan is going great and well. I would say this is an amazing session again that we are, bringing into you. And since we are approaching the last 10 days of Ramadan, I hope and pray that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept all our prayers and good deeds during this month of Ramadan and allow us to do even more, not just for during this month, but inshallah ta'ala carry on our good deeds throughout the year. So, let's not forget to give sadaqah and charity, for people who truly need it, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan. We would really kindly appreciate that we do have our automate your 10-night donation with Nisa Helpline at my10nights.com/Nisa-helpline-CA. I'm sure, we'll have the link available to you soon. And so let's get started. And I want to welcome you all for, the third Ramadan series. It's, called the 3 Wellness Habits with our sister Lalarukh Mahmood. And just to tell you a little bit more about Lalarukh Mahmood, she is a certified holistic wellness coach with the International Association of Wellness Professionals. She has her undergraduate degree in psychology from York University, and she's currently a student. She's studying the Advanced Islamic Study program with the IE. And, outside her studying, you can find her enjoying journaling and also outdoor activities like hiking. So, Sister Lalarukh will be talking to us a bit about mental health, during this tough time that we're going through, whether it is, related to pandemic or any type of difficulties that we are, going through. As you know, that it's very difficult to let go of some of the challenges that we are facing these days. So it's always good to, to know and learn about coping mechanism related to our wellness and habits that help us kind of remain grounded. So Lalarukh will invite us to take tiny yet impactful steps towards nourishing our mind, bodies, and soul, which is very important, to take care of our inner self and also the outer self. So we just want to learn from the wealth of information on how to use the food, movement, and our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us grounded during this difficult time. So, I just want to make sure that we take this time to truly welcome Sister Lalarukh Mahmood into our session today, inshallah. And I will let her talk more about mental and physical wellness. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Lalarukh.
Wa alaikum assalam, and jazakallah khair, Aisha, for the introduction.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so I will get started without any delay. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone, and welcome to our online session today. Inshallah, what we're going to be talking about, like Sister Aisha mentioned, right now we're almost 2/3 ways through Ramadan. We're almost into the last 10 nights. And maybe at this point, some of you might be feeling a little low. You're starting to notice yourself feeling tired, or maybe this isn't something new for you. Maybe this is something that you've been experiencing ever since Ramadan started, right? And this might be starting to affect your mental health as well, because when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling low throughout the day, it makes you kind of just not want to do much. It makes you want to just rest and lie around and not really get anything done, which can negatively affect your mental health. Now, before we go into, how we can address this, it's important for us to understand that if we're feeling this way during Ramadan, it's definitely not because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended for us from Ramadan, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He never wants anything bad to happen to us. He always wants good for us. And Ramadan can actually really, really help us grow and improve in many aspects of our lives. Like, even scientifically, research has shown that Ramadan fasting can lead to a lot of health benefits, such as improved digestion, reduced LDL cholesterol, increased HDL cholesterol, which is like the good type of cholesterol, and then healthy weight management, mental health benefits, improved mood, and even improved cognitive function and memory, right? And this is all backed by research. Research has shown that Ramadan fasting can lead to these benefits. So the question is, why are some of us feeling this Ramadan low, feeling this tiredness, this lack of energy in Ramadan, right? And the answer to that question is it's because during Ramadan, sadly, a lot of us have a tendency to fall into unhealthy habits that can harm both our physical and mental well-being. And inshallah, today that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about some of these unhealthy habits that we can fall into during Ramadan and how we can replace them with habits of wellness so that inshallah we can feel our best and make the most out of the remaining of this blessed month. And if we go to the next slide, we're going to be focusing mainly on habits related to three areas of our lives. So, food, our body, and our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so let's get started with the first one, which is food. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let's get started with this one because this is definitely a very big one. It starts right from the moment we begin our fast up until the moment we break our fast, right? So, as you can see over here, we have four unhealthy habits that we can easily fall into during Ramadan. And the very first one of these is skipping suhoor. Now, I know it's a challenge to get up at like 3:30 a.m. to have suhoor. That's probably something many of us are not used to, right? Some of us even have a hard time, like, even first of all, it's hard to get up. Second, even if you manage to get up, some of us find it hard to even like eat anything at that time because we usually don't eat at that time, right? So it's pretty easy to just like skip suhoor and be like, yeah, it's okay, I'll fast without my suhoor. But we do not want to do that. This is a really unhealthy habit because when you skip suhoor, you actually end up fasting for almost 24 hours, right? Because the last meal you probably had was probably like around iftar, dinner time, and then you went to sleep. And now you're going to be fasting until iftar or dinner time the following day. So you're literally fasting for almost 24 hours without any food to fuel your body. And when you do this, this leads to a lack of energy. You're not as productive throughout the day, and maybe you might not even feel that good, right? Like you're experiencing this low mood. And that is not what we want to be experiencing during Ramadan, because Ramadan, like, a lot of us have so many beautiful goals. We want to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we want to make sure that we actually have the mental and physical energy to work on those goals and do all those amazing things we need to do, right? So definitely skipping suhoor is an unhealthy habit that we want to leave behind. And the wellness habit that we want to replace this with is, of course, very simple. Eat suhoor. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to do as well. In a hadith, he mentioned, eat suhoor, for in suhoor there is blessing. And honestly, like when you start your fast by having suhoor, you will notice if you're having the right types of food during suhoor time, you will notice that you have much more energy throughout the day to do whatever you need to do, whether it's to study, to work, to do your ibadah, to help your parents around the house, be there for your friends, your sisters, support them, whatever it is that you need to get done. You'll notice that you have so much more energy when you have suhoor. And you'll also notice that you're also in a better mood. Okay. But the important thing is that you want to make sure you're having the right types of food for suhoor, which leads me to my next unhealthy habit that I have up here. So, for a lot of people, they're actually able to get themselves to get up for suhoor and actually get themselves to eat something for suhoor. But here's another unhealthy habit we fall into. So a lot of times we find it easy to have something like simple carbs for suhoor, right? And examples of simple carbs are things like cereal, like sugary cereal, bagels, and white bread. And this isn't the best option to have for suhoor, because what simple carbs do to your body is they spike your blood sugar all of a sudden, and then you crash, so it leaves you feeling fatigued. Okay, so instead, the wellness habit that we want to move towards is we want to start having complex carbs and fiber and protein for suhoor. And once you have complex carbs, fiber, and protein for suhoor, um, what's going to happen is these types of foods, they actually digest slowly throughout the day, so they keep you feeling full longer, and they release energy slowly into your body, so that you have a more like sustainable source of energy in your body as you go throughout the day with your fast. Okay, and I know, like, even for this point, there's like so much to talk about in terms of like, okay, well, what exactly can I have if I want to have like complex carbs and fiber and protein for suhoor, right? So inshallah, towards the end, I'm going to share a resource with you that you can refer to for really easy to follow recipes that are going to be really helpful for you, inshallah. So just keep an eye out for that towards the end. But for now, I'll move on to the next unhealthy habit related to food, which is overeating. Ah, this one is very, very, very easy to fall into, because the whole day we've been fasting. I know sometimes even while we're fasting, we kind of like start thinking about food, or maybe you're talking to your friends and then you guys start talking about food and you start getting hungry. Then maybe you go on like YouTube and you start watching some tasty recipe videos, and you're just getting more and more hungry, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to break my fast and eat this and eat that and eat that. And then Maghrib time comes along and you finally break your fast and you just like start stuffing yourself, right? Which is definitely very unhealthy, because when we overeat like this, after fasting for a whole day, when we overeat like this, it leads to laziness and fatigue. Instead, what you want to do is, subhanallah, like Ramadan is actually very helpful in terms of helping us grow and develop our willpower, right? And our willpower and mental toughness, this is something that is like that you can use in the rest of your life as well. Like if you just go online and do some research, all successful people have this one quality in common. They're able to utilize their willpower and mental toughness to do the right things when they need to. And Ramadan can really, really help us strengthen our willpower and our mental toughness. How? Because as we're fasting throughout the day, we're literally saying no to things that we're usually used to just having without even thinking, right? Things like food and water. But in Ramadan, you're training yourself. You're like, no, I'm not going to have that. Even though I want to, I will not have this because I want to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I want to complete my fast, right? So by doing this can actually help you strengthen your willpower. But sadly, a lot of us tend to just like throw that in the trash can when iftar time comes along, because when it's iftar time, we've built up all that willpower and now we're like, okay, I'm gonna trash this and I'm just gonna eat whatever I want and however much I want without really being mindful about it or without thinking about how that's gonna impact my body. We do not want to do that. Instead, we want to keep up that willpower and that mental toughness we've been building throughout the day and use that to make smart decisions when iftar time comes along, right? It's kind of like, when maybe some of you have experienced this outside of Ramadan, like when you start exercising, it actually helps you feel so good that when there's like a large piece of cake, sure, you might have like a bite or two, but after that, you'll stop because you're just feeling so good from exercising that that good feeling spills into other areas of your life. Now you're starting to eat healthier and you're starting to get up early and you're starting to show up in your relationships with better energy and you're more happier, right? All of this. So, similarly, Ramadan can have a similar impact on our life, but we have to allow that to happen. We can't just like keep trashing all that all that willpower and mental toughness we built up throughout the day at iftar time, right? So try to be mindful of that. Try to use your willpower more at iftar time, so that you don't fall into overeating and overindulging in foods that you know aren't good for you. You don't have to like completely say no to your favorite treats. You can, of course, have like enjoy a little bit of it, right? But just remember, moderation is key. As long as you're not overeating, it should be fine, inshallah, but stay away from overeating. The last unhealthy habit related to food is having fried food and sugary treats for iftar. And this is like super common because I know in a lot of cultures, there's a lot of like traditional cultural food that we generally make for iftar, uh, which is fried, which is very sugary, right? But this actually impacts our bodies very negatively because when we have fried food, even in general, um, like when we have fried food, even outside Ramadan, it's not the best for our bodies. And then when we have it in Ramadan, like after a full day of fasting, you're having so much fried food, it leads to low energy, it makes you more thirsty, and it makes you less productive. And then with sugary treats, what that does is, once again, it gives you like a mood boost all of a sudden, but then that's followed by a crash where you start feeling low and tired and even empty. And that's not how we want to be feeling after iftar, right? Because after iftar is when we want to pray our Taraweeh prayer and inshallah connect even better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to overcome that, what I usually what I usually suggest is that what you do is open your fast, break your fast with dates and water, and then have some fruits or vegetables, right? Because both fruits and vegetables, they have fiber, so it's really good to give your body some fiber at that time. So have some fruits or vegetables at that time, and then go pray. Just go pray maghrib instead of indulging in everything else that's over there. And then after you pray maghrib, then you can come back and eat your dinner and other things that you wanted to. And this technique, a lot of times it's helpful because when we give ourselves a little break, like after breaking our fast, we actually notice that, wait, I actually don't feel that like crazy hunger and those crazy cravings that I've been feeling throughout the day. So I don't need to go too crazy with food. I can still enjoy what I want to, but in moderation, right? So just taking that little pause, that little break in between really helps you do that. And you know how I suggested earlier that after breaking your fast, try to have some fruits or vegetables. So if you're having vegetables, like if let's say you're having like half a plate of vegetables, try to include leafy green vegetables in there because leafy greens can actually help counter both depression and fatigue. Okay. And also try to include green and orange vegetables because both of them are very energizing. They're actually high in antioxidants, which help boost your immunity. And that in turn increases and boosts your energy. And, you know, like they help you cleanse your body from toxins, which once again boosts your energy. And fruits and vegetables can also help you stay hydrated to hydrate your body. So, this is definitely something you want to do, inshallah, when you break your fast. So these are the four unhealthy habits related to food that we want to move away from and inshallah move towards the four wellness habits, which are to eat suhoor, have complex carbs, protein, and fiber for suhoor, and use your willpower and mental toughness at iftar time and keep yourself in control. And lastly, break your fast with dates, water, something light for iftar like fruits or vegetables, go pray and then eat. Go pray and then come back and eat. Okay. Next, we're going to move on to the unhealthy habits related to our bodies. And the first one I have on here is a lot of us have a tendency to become sedentary during Ramadan. Like, even for those of us who exercise regularly, in Ramadan, a lot of times we just stop exercising and we'll kind of just like sit on our desks and do our work and not really move around much, which is not good at all. You don't want to stop exercising just because it's Ramadan. That's actually gonna impact your well-being negatively because what it does is it leads to us having negative mood, feeling fatigued. It also impacts our cognitive function and it also makes us lose that consistent habit we had of working out and exercising, right? So instead of being totally sedentary during Ramadan, of course, what you want to do is start moving. If you find it really tough to like do your regular workouts during Ramadan, that's okay. You don't have to like keep up with those because it can be a little bit challenging to work out in Ramadan, right? Like, for example, if you're working out while you're fasting, you can't drink water. So you don't have to do exactly what you were doing outside of Ramadan, but you can replace that with other things that still help you move your body and get some movement into your day. So, for example, like you can schedule in a walk outside. Like, subhanAllah, these days the weather outside is so beautiful, right? So, go for a half an hour walk outside and look at the beautiful flowers and leaves that are blooming and reflect on that and actually use that to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because nature is something that can really help us feel connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and think of him and see how beautiful his creation is, right? So this is something you can do, like combine movement with some dhikr. So yeah, definitely make sure you're getting some movement into your day because that's gonna help you feel so much more energized. Like, you know, while you're fasting, you're probably going to have those moments throughout the day where you don't feel like doing anything. You just want to like not do anything. That is probably a really good time for you to get up and go outside for a walk, get some fresh air and some movement in. Try that out, and you're gonna notice, inshallah, like once you come back from that walk, you're gonna be feeling so much more refreshed and energized. So try that, okay? And the second unhealthy habit is, during Ramadan, some of us might be like skipping our naps. And this, okay, so during Ramadan, we want to push ourselves to try and pray more during nighttime, right? Which means that we're probably not getting as much sleep throughout the night. And as we might already know, lack of sleep can lead to mood swings and just feeling so irritable. So in order to avoid that, one really simple thing that you can do is take advantage of power naps. And this is actually something that the Prophet ﷺ used to do. He used to take naps. He would take a nap, if I remember correctly, sometime between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So between like those 2 hours, so right before Dhuhr, he would take a nap. This is something he would do. And yeah, taking a nap can just like help you re-energize your mind and body, especially if you didn't get enough sleep at night. So definitely try to do that, inshallah. Now, the third and last types of unhealthy habits are related to our souls, or more so with our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first one I have here is, okay, so a lot of us, maybe because of the Ramadan traditions we grew up with, the different things we see other people doing, a lot of us kind of tend to think that Ramadan is about connecting with your family and friends, right? Even if you go online and like read some articles about Ramadan, some of them state this. They'll be like, Ramadan is a great time for Muslims to connect with their family and with their friends and experience some culture and traditions and all of these things, right? And that is not true. That is not what Ramadan is about. Of course, these things can be a part of your Ramadan. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But when you start making this like the purpose of your Ramadan, that's when it's no longer the right thing to do, because the true purpose for Ramadan, that we should be, the main thing that we should be focusing on in Ramadan is to develop our taqwa. It's to strengthen our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's what you want to be focusing more on, right? And this one is actually connected to like a few other things, because see, when we start thinking of Ramadan as simply a time to connect with our friends and family members, that's when we start focusing so much more on like food preparation and deciding like what type of large meals we want to prepare, what type of foods we want to enjoy with our family. It's somewhat limited right now because we're in a lockdown, so we can't have like iftars and stuff. But even at home, even just with your own close family members, right? If you're focusing so much on connecting with your family through Ramadan, then you're going to be spending a lot of time focusing on like what you can cook and all of these different Ramadan traditions. But when you change your mindset, when you change your focus from family to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's when it'll become much easier to like let go of that extravagant food that you might want to have, because now your focus is on developing taqwa and strengthening your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the first one. And the second one, the second one kind of is related to the first one. So, let's say like, okay, we've had this mindset shift where we're like, okay, you know what? I am going to focus on developing my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the next unhealthy habit we can fall into is focusing on quantity over quality. So whether this has to do with how much Quran you're reciting, how many extra prayers you're praying, how much dhikr you're doing, a lot of times we focus a lot on quantity, right? Like we might be like, okay, I want to finish reading the Quran like 5 times in this Ramadan, and we don't really focus as much on how that impacts our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we might be like speeding through the pages. We're just like reciting, reciting, reciting without even pausing and reflecting on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran, right? Of course, we're going to get rewarded for reciting it, but we also want to pay attention to and reflect on what exactly is Allah telling us in the Quran that we're reciting, and what does that mean for my life? How does that impact my life? How can I start acting on this? Is there something good that I learned from the Quran, which maybe I should go and share with my family and my friends, right? We don't focus on this part when we're so focused on just how much we're reading and how much we're reciting. So we want to move away from focusing just on quantity, and we want to start focusing on the quality of our ibadah as well. And we want to start focusing on how well it's helping us connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So rather than rushing through your prayers and rushing through your recitation and rushing through your dhikr, instead, go through them slowly. Even if that means you're reciting less, still take your time and reflect on what you're reciting. Reflect on the dhikr you're doing, and truly think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you're doing these things so you can connect better with Him. And the last one is so the last unhealthy habit we have here is when we end up using that very special time right before iftar time to cook and to do mainly to cook. A lot of, like, especially for a lot of sisters, we end up doing this, sadly, right? And you do not want to use that time for cooking, and let me tell you why. The Prophet ﷺ said, there are three whose dua is not rejected: a just ruler, the fasting person when he breaks his fast, and the prayer of the oppressed person. It rises above the clouds, and the gates of heaven are opened for it. And the Lord, may he be glorified, says, by my glory I will answer you, even if it is after a while. So as we can learn from this hadith, that time right before we break our fast, it's a very, very, very special time for us to be making dua, right? Like, we all have problems that we all have challenges in our lives that we're struggling with. We all probably have goals that we're working towards. We're all probably aware of the like tens and hundreds of challenges that our communities are facing, right? Whether it's mental health issues or poverty or oppression, there are so many challenges that our communities are facing. You want to take this time to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to ask Him to grant you all those things that you want in this life and the next. And you want to ask Him to help you get through your challenges. You want to pray for your community. You want to be making dua for anyone you know who's sick or suffering from any type of challenges, right? Because this time is a really good time to make dua. So instead of using that time for like cooking and house chores, use that time to make dua. And through making dua, you're going to be connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. So these are the 3 areas of unhealthy habits that it can be really easy to fall into during Ramadan. But I hope this kind of like everything I've talked about so far, it gave you some good alternatives that you can start working towards, so that the rest of this Ramadan you can start feeling good, feeling energized, and feeling better. And so that you can do everything you want to do in Ramadan with excellence, inshallah. And if we go to the next slide, based on like everything I've talked about, I just want to mention that these days self-care is a term that's a buzzword. Like almost everyone's talking about it, right? And especially if you're on platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, when you think of self-care, maybe what pops into your mind is something like taking a fancy bath, or going to the salon, or indulging in pizza, right? So sometimes there's like this false impression of self care, that self care is just simply about doing whatever you want to do without thinking about the long term impact it's going to have on you. And this is really interesting because when you go to experts within the field of, let's say, like psychology, if you go to a therapist, they will tell you that self care is not about indulging yourself in whatever you want to do. Self care is actually about doing things that truly help you nourish your soul, your mind, and your body, right? So self care isn't about like having a whole bag of chips just because you feel like having it. Self care is actually about being mindful of how this is going to impact your body, and knowing that if you have this entire bag of chips, it's actually going to harm you long term. So this is not the choice you want to be making. The choice you want to be making is, sure, maybe have a few chips, but then also have a filling meal that's gonna fill you and give you energy and just help you get through the day and do everything you need to do, right? So it's really important for us to remember that, like we can't and we shouldn't be using like self-care as an excuse to indulge in like fried food or whatever we want to do during Ramadan, because that is not what self-care is. Self-care is not about simply doing what you want to do. Instead, self-care is about doing the things that truly nourish your soul, mind, and body. Why? So that you can be your best self and worship and serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your ability. And I want to wrap up this talk by sharing some resources with all of you, inshallah. So, I talked about three areas, mainly food, body, and connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you feel like, after listening to this talk, you're like, oh my God, I really need to go change some of the things I'm eating, but I'm not really sure how to do that. Don't worry, I have a resource for you. So there's a book called The Healthy Muslim Guide. I think if you just Google it, you should be able to find it. But if you're having trouble, then the author's name is Nazima Qureshi, and I think Bilal Hafiz, if I remember his name correctly. So yeah, just Google The Healthy Muslim Guide. And this is an excellent book that has like so many amazing recipes that you can use throughout Ramadan for Sahur and Iftar, and even for like post Iftar snacking, right? And yeah, mashallah, like they've done such an excellent job with the recipes, because it's not like those boring recipes that come to mind when you think of something healthy. They've tried to include recipes from like different cultures, so I'm pretty sure you will find something that you enjoy eating in there. And then the second area, which is related to more like our bodies and making sure we're moving more throughout the day. If this is something that you want to start doing, then Amana Fitness She has some really good Ramadan workouts on YouTube. So you can just go search them up on YouTube, and inshallah, you can follow along with her workouts. And lastly, if you want to, like truly connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this Ramadan, rather than just like doing rituals mechanically, there's I3 Institute, which has amazing daily Ramadan programs going on until the end of Ramadan. And they're pretty short. It's not like anything super intense. They're just like from 6 to 7 p.m. every single evening throughout Ramadan. So that's something you can tune into. And inshallah, I'm sure it'll help you connect better with the Quran and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before I wrap up, I just wanna say thank you and jazakumullah khair to Nisa Helpline for giving me the opportunity to share everything I shared with you today. And for those of you who haven't heard of Nisa Helpline before, or maybe you're not familiar with Nisa Helpline, I just want to tell you a little bit about it before I wrap up. So, Nisa Helpline has been on the front line supporting our sisters one call at a time for the past few years, for a while actually, mashallah. And this is the year to support Nisa Helpline because, as women, we faced our day to day challenges and compounded them with COVID-19 impacts. And this ranges from work life balance, financial restraints, mental health management, relationship strain, and so much more. And Nisa Helpline has actually had a spike in incoming calls. Just this past month, the helpline experienced a 225% increase in calls. Let me repeat that. They experienced a 225% increase in calls in the midst of a lockdown and quarantines. So, in order for the helpline to continue supporting vulnerable women in our community, they need your help so we can all fulfill our responsibility and be a part of the solution, right? So during this blessed month, please donate to Nisa Helpline through their Launch Good campaign. I think maybe the moderators can type in the link in the comment section, but I'll just read it out as well. So the link is launchgood.com/Nisa Helpline Ramadan. So I will end off with this. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
Well, Jazakallah khair. That was some great information, Lalarukh, and we really, really appreciate your time. You touched, I think, really a right time on about the physicality of our bodies and mental ability, and about food, and about taking care of our soul with prayers. And I think it's a really important subject, and it's a really critical time for everyone to be following through with this information. So I think that was a great opportunity for us to listen to everything that you have to say. So thank you so much for taking your time out and doing the Ramadan series session with us. Jazakallah khair. So, and I also want to thank everyone for attending the Ramadan series session with Nisa Helpline. And I just want to let you guys know that we do have 3 upcoming sessions coming up during Ramadan. And one of them is Leave No Woman Behind, Taking Action for a Path Forward. It is on Saturday, May 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And our guests are Ustada Nurdin Knight, Dr. Sarah Hanafi, Sister Nakita Valerio, and Imam Khalid Latif, and Dr. Farah Islam. So please invite your friends, families, everyone get together and listen to the informative session, and I'm sure somebody will find it very helpful. And the second session, and one of my favorite that I'm really looking forward to as well, is I think this would be a fun interactive. It's a art session. It's a draw along with Sister Uzma Ahmed, and that is on Wednesday, May 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. You'll probably see me there as well. And our the third session that's upcoming is the part 2 of With Hardship Come Ease with Sister Zahra Sawari on May 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which is 12 p.m. PST time. So once again, I just want to let you guys know that don't forget to check out Nisa Helpline on social media. They actually have Nisa Helpline on Instagram right now, and other social media as Facebook, and also the website. And Jazakallah, I just would again like to thank Lalarukh for joining us. And just to let you guys know, my name is Aisha, and I am a volunteer with Nisa Helpline, and I do provide counseling services as well at Blissful Mind and Roots. So inshallah, jazakallah, and Ramadan Kareem. Take care.